Eric, you've managed to always be ahead of the curve. You were on Twitter before you even knew that it was a tweet. Like, I didn't even know the right terminology for it. And A, you never seem to get any older, and B, you always seem to stay ahead of the curve. How the heck do you do that?
I'm constantly curious, right? So like whatever the new technology is that's out there that we're like looking at or thinking about, like that's what I think is so great about the new artificial intelligence, all the ChatGPT and everything else that's happening. And it's not about the technology. Some people think about it from a geek perspective of like, oh, you want to play with this. I'm always thinking about how I can apply it to my life. So like, how's it going to make my life easier? What is it going to do that's going to kind of replace something that's maybe a manual process? And so as I've thought about technology, it's of interest. So with Twitter, I used it specifically to help with networking because I'm relatively shy. I don't like doing all of this stuff. I'm an introvert. That's why I joined Toastmasters. And so Twitter let me connect with people before I would go to a conference. So I already had a relationship with them. And then when I would meet them at a conference, it made it easier for me to have that conversation. Because DJ, you'll walk up to anybody and talk to them. And I can go to an entire networking event and meet no one. I can walk in and out of the entire room and be completely okay with that. So anytime I can use technology as a way to supplement a deficiency, then that's kind of how I've looked at it.
So you talked about ChatGPT. Are you using ChatGPT 3 or 4? Have you played around with GPT-4?
Yes, I'm using all of them. So back in December, when there was sort of like this big buzz about it, we started figuring out how we could apply it internally. The way it sold me is I was working with a client and they were using a product I'd never heard of before. And we were doing a discovery session like 2 weeks later. And typically it'd take a day or so to get up to speed on what is that product, who uses it, that type of thing. And I was like, I've been hearing about this ChatGPT thing. Let me go ask it what it knows. And so I said, hey, so ChatGPT, give me a couple of companies that are using this product. It listed 10 companies that were using the product, how they used it, what it was for. So in 5 minutes, I knew everything I needed to know that would typically take me at least 6 or 7 hours to go through and do the research and put it together. So from that point, I was like, oh, now this is cool. And what I like about it is I'm a bad Googler. I don't think I do Google search terms right because I never get back what I want. But ChatGPT is very forgiving. You can ask it the question in almost any way and it comes back with an answer or helps you rewrite something. Love the fact that it's awake at 3 o'clock in the morning when I am. So if I'm like, hey, I need an idea on this thing, I'm not bothering somebody over Slack or annoying them, I can ask ChatGPT, like, what do you think about it? And so it comes back with a response. And the difference really between the different platforms is how much knowledge it has in place. So that's really like how big the database is that it's tapping into. But I'm as excited about this as I have been any technology that we've seen in recent years.